Welcome to my channel. I'm Tim. Today we're going to be working on a Christmas ornament. This is from a file that I purchased off Etsy, and I am having to make a few changes to it because it's not designed quite as a hanging ornament and it's a little bit bigger than I want it to be. But I think you'll recognize the ornament, and we'll just get right into Lightburn and get to it. Okay, so this is the file I've downloaded. This is an SVG. It's this little green dude. And I need to make it into a hanging ornament, and it needs to be smaller. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put everything in line mode so it's easier to work with. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to select everything, and I want to lock the aspect ratio. And I'm going to make it 125 millimeters wide. That's the width we're going with. Now, a couple things I need to do next. I need to ungroup this. We'll do that. Ungroup it, ungroup everybody. Okay, hit it twice, that's all ungrouped. I need to put a hole for the hanging string up here. I'm going to make a circle, and I want to go 6 millimeters. That's the size I like for that. And turn on my keystroke so you can see what keys I'm hitting. All right, now shift and click. Now I want to center it vertically. So I just need to move it down. That's a little too far. That looks good there. Now I'm going to do an offset around this. And 3 millimeters is the number I like to work with. That gives me a nice strength here. And I do not want to delete the original object. I want to keep the hole. Okay. I'm going to group those two together. I'm going to grab the outer line here and turn that into a red path. This guy's a toolpath. It is a toolpath. I want that to be red. There we go. Now it looks better. Okay, zoom in, and we're going to take the scissor tool and just cut away the parts we don't want. And it doesn't work because it's grouped. So I need to ungroup it. Now it'll take the parts I don't want. I want that out. I want that out. There. 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 Okay. Now we have, get rid of scissor tool. Now I have the hands, the outline of the hand with a nice, good size hanging hole for a nice ribbon. We're going to group that back together. Now I need to change and grab everything that's not here. Actually, before I do anything else, I want to put these fingers together. I don't want to have the space here that I have little pieces to deal with gluing together when it comes to glue, for the glue up. So I'm going to go into the node editor and select this and hover there and hit the B key. That breaks the shape apart. Take this guy here and hit the E button. That extends it down to where it hits. And click that. Just hit the D. That'll get rid of that space. I want to do the same thing over here on this one. I want to break it apart there. And get rid of some of these lines. D, 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 E. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to just extend this one down as well. And here I want to get rid of that one. And I'll extend this line. So that's a pretty cool feature. When you hit the E key hovering over an end node, it just goes in a straight line until it hits something. And I'll click off. And that looks decent. So now I'll grab the scissor tool again, come in here and get rid of the extra parts. And now that's all one piece. We'll go and repeat the same thing over here. So back into node editor, click on it, B to break it apart, Undo that. Hit here and hit the D key, get rid of that line. E, oh, and see that one, it's not quite lined up perfectly, and it went all the way down there. That's not where I want, so I'm just going to bring it back up here and connect it at that point. And same thing over here, hit the D. Oops, need to break it first. B, then D, E, D, E, and delete that one, and extend this one. And click off it. And that looks pretty good. We'll grab the scissors again, and get rid of those two sections. And we're back on our selector tool. And one thing I'll do, make sure that I actually close the path. So while that's still highlighted, hit there and hit close path. Double check it. It's not closing. Now it's closed. That was weird. Check this one. It is closed. I must have had something else selected in there and didn't realize it. Okay. The next step we want to do is we want to duplicate all these shapes to create some score lines. So I'm going to grab everything on this side, hold down Shift, grab these guys, and those guys. So that's all my interior shapes are selected. I'm going to duplicate by Command D and then put them on a score layer, which is my blue in this case. Okay. The next thing I need to do is the entire blue layer is selected. I'm going to hold down Shift and select a red layer and group all that together. Now I should be good. Yes. I have my hands, this is my backer piece. So this piece here is going to be what's on the back. I'm going to cut out along the red line. The blue line will score so we know where to put all these little pieces that are in here. So these can all get put onto a red layer now for cut. And let me select them again and group them together so it moves, doesn't mess up. Okay. Now let's put this guy down here close to the bottom. And 169, 296. Okay, that's where that's going to go. This guy here, I'm going to rotate 90 degrees, and I did that just by hitting the comma. That ran 90 degrees counterclockwise. If you hit the period, it goes clockwise. And move this over here roughly. And I did this earlier, so I know my coordinates that I want is 169 and 251. And they are close, but not quite. All right, now the only thing I need to do is put my names on and cut it out. So let's go here. Yeah, oh, I remembered what I did. Okay, let's back up here. By default, it's going to come in like this, at 25 millimeters with no spacing in between. Okay, sorry, some noise going on outside, trying to figure out what that was. All right. And let's put this on different layers so we can see it better and fill. Okay, I'm going to shrink it down. I think 12.5 is about what I want. Yeah, that should fit mostly in the heart. And then I'm going to shrink the horizontal space until they start touching and they will actually weld together. Not all names will weld nicely like this. This one does. And it's still very readable. And when we put that in the top of the heart, it'll be a nice, and that's going to sit right there for the cut. Change that back to a red layer. Okay, Now we just need to assign our, let's see, we're on the score layer. I want a light score. And I'm going to open this up. I'm going to put a negative kerf. And what that will do for me is that's going to shrink all these scores inward so that when I go to glue the pieces on, you don't see the lines after the fact. Because if you make it the exact same size, you will see the line when it cuts out after you glue it together. So you need to compensate for that a little bit. And I'm going negative 0.2 millimeters. And then for my cut layer, I'm going to come here. I'm using 3 millimeter Baltic birch. Assign that. And then the other thing I need to do is move this down. Tool layer can be on. Tool layer doesn't matter where it is. We'll put it below there. Okay. And let's do a quick preview. Okay. That'll cut everything out. And we should be looking good. I'm going to send this to the laser. And we'll go make our cuts. And now we're getting ready to start painting. Give it a little shake. And spray the red. And the green. The trick is to try and go straight down so you're getting just the surface and not so much on the edges. White. Now, you can see there I need to tape those little pieces down so the force of spray paint doesn't blow them away. I'll do that in future. And I'm painting the entire back side of the backer piece. It has some scorch marks on it from the honeycomb. So I'm just going to paint over it. And I think that's going to look better anyhow. Just have a nice cohesive black backer piece. I use these painter pyramids so I can set it up and paint the front side without having to wait for the back side to dry. A little small, so getting it to balance up there is kind of precarious. Give it a good coating. And one thing I don't want to do is put so much paint on that I lose the score marks. So I want those for assembly. Alright, let it sit and dry. Give it a second coat. And now it's time for the second coat. There again, just nice even coating. Trying to mainly go straight down on it so I don't get too much on the edges. I like to keep the nice little brown. And always be sure to shake your pan every time you're getting ready to spray. Even if it's only been a few minutes, give it a good shake. Okay. There, let that dry, and once it's dry, we'll get to assembly. All right, got all the pieces laid out. I'm using CA glue. And just put a few drops on, because you don't want to put too much on where it squeezes out, because it does leave a little bit of a white residue when it squeezes out. You do best just get it lined up with their score marks and press it down against. Because the other thing is, if you move it around with the glue behind it, another that's another way that the glue will squeeze out and get where you don't want it. So you try and get it lined up as perfect as you can before you drop it right down on top. On these fine pieces, you want to be careful to get just the slightest drop on the fingertips and stuff, because squeeze out is a real issue. But you still want it to hold. You don't have a lot of time to work with this. See, glue sets up in a matter of a second or two. Little pieces, just a drop or two, maybe 3 at most, and real small drops. And there we have it. I just need to get the name and get it placed. Trying to see how it's going to fit. I didn't put any score marks in the heart on this one because for just a single name I don't think it's necessary. You can kind of just eyeball it and get it where you want it. But what we've talked about previously about the glue squeezing out, if you move it around, you want to be very careful to just line it up where you're just not quite touching and put it straight down where you want it, and don't move it. Okay, give it a good push, and there it is. You put a ribbon on it for hanging. We have a beautiful little green guy ornament. Well, that was a fun little project. And along the way, we learned how to take a file that's not meant to be an ornament and turn it into an ornament. We had to shrink it down in size, make it more appropriate, and we had to add a hanging hole for the ribbon to put it on the tree, and make the different layers to it. And here's the finished product. I think it turned out pretty well. So leave a comment. Tell me what you thought. Tell me if you'd have done something different, how you would have done it different. Like my video, subscribe to my channel. Got more stuff coming up every week. So we'll see you soon. Have a great day.